Just moments ago, social media and news outlets exploded with new reports that Beyonce is officially distancing herself from Jay-Z following the leak of devastating court evidence tied to Diddy's ongoing federal case.
Now, Jaguar Wright is a well-known whistleblower. She has predicted many of the crimes Diddy is charged with today. Now, as of recent, she had an interview with Piers Morgan, and she did say that Jay-Z and Beyonce were implicated with Diddy. Now, let me know your opinion on the things she's sharing about Jay-Z and Beyonce.
I have 3 victims right now who are willing to give testimony about not only what Mr. Carter has done to them, but his wife as well.
She's referring to Jay-Z, Sean Carter.
They're a nasty little couple. They do nasty things.
What do you think happened with Kim
Keeping people against their will, putting people on planes while they're unconscious, just like Aaliyah got on that plane, unconscious. There's a lot of things that people don't want to talk about.
So essentially what she's trying to say is that Jay-Z and Beyonce are doing or have done similar things that Diddy is being accused of. What do you guys think about this? You think it's true? You think she's full of it? Let me know down below.
There's just been a shocking revelation from federal authorities regarding a highly private and scandalous video involving none other than Jay-Z and Beyonce, reportedly taken during a wild party hosted by Diddy. Apparently during a Homeland Security raid on Diddy's properties, some rather intriguing discoveries were made, including compromising footage featuring numerous beloved celebrities caught in scandalous situations. Speculation is rife that Diddy intentionally leaked this footage to authorities as a form of revenge against the Carters, allegedly due to their perceived lack of support during his legal battles. It seems he's on a mission to embarrass them at any cost. Adding fuel to the fire, an unsettling audio clip allegedly featuring Meek Mill and Diddy has surfaced, courtesy of Diddy's former bodyguard.
For months, whispers surrounded the power couple, but this is different. This is concrete. And according to sources close to the situation, the evidence unsealed in court today was the tipping point for Beyonce. Allegedly, this new batch of materials connects Jay-Z more deeply to the party circuits under investigation, places that prosecutors say were anything but innocent gatherings. Beyonce, who had maintained her poise and silence throughout the controversy, is now said to be taking urgent legal and PR steps to secure herself and her empire.
And a federal judge has ruled the woman alleging she was raped by Jay-Z and Sean Diddy Combs can remain anonymous. The woman says both men raped her at a party when she was 13 years old. Jay-Z's legal team had fought to get the case dismissed, arguing his accuser should have to reveal her name, but the judge disagreed. ABC's Morgan Norwood has the latest.
A legal victory for the woman who is suing Jay-Z for allegedly raping her when she was 13. A federal judge ruling the woman can proceed with the case while remaining anonymous, at least for now. But the judge also chastising the lawyers representing Jay-Z, accusing them of trying to fast-track the judicial process by repeatedly filing motions to reveal the identity of the Jane Doe to have the case dismissed. The judge writing in a 5-page brief that the Carters' lawyers' relentless filing of combative motions containing inflammatory language and ad hominem attacks is inappropriate, a waste of judicial resources, and a tactic unlikely to benefit his client. The court will not fast-track the judicial process merely because the counsel demands it. This latest legal twist coming after the recently filed civil lawsuit by Jane Doe, claiming that Jay-Z, whose real name is Sean Carter, and P. Diddy, drugged and raped a 13-year-old girl at an after-party after the MTV Music Awards in 2000, while an unnamed celebrity watched. Jay-Z has vehemently denied all the allegations, putting out this statement 2 weeks ago, writing in part, "This is a blackmail attempt." The multi-platinum artist, who was 30 at the time, now a business mogul with decades of hits to his name, with songs like Run This Town.
We are, yeah, I said it, we are. This is Rock Nation, pledge your allegiance.
His attorneys have denied everything about Jane Doe's account and pointed to some alleged inconsistencies in her story.
It's not just that this story is a lie and that it's not true. It's provably, demonstrably false. This never happened.
The judge writing that while Jane Doe can remain anonymous for now, she may be required to reveal her identity at a later date to allow Jay-Z's lawyers to collect facts necessary to prepare for trial.
Oftentimes, when someone is accused of a crime like this, the accuser doesn't want to be named, and if they are forced to be named, we have seen certain people decide to drop the lawsuit altogether.
Morgan Norwood, thank you. And Tony Busby, the lawyer representing Jay-Z and Diddy's accusers, says in a statement to ABC News, quote, "I will say that the coordinated and desperate efforts to attack me as counsel for alleged victims are falling flat. We won't be bullied or intimidated." And we did reach out to Jay-Z and his team, but did not get a response.
Her team, blindsided by the extent of Jay-Z's possible involvement, reportedly scrambled into action within minutes of the court leak. Damage control shifted into overdrive, and the online world is now ablaze with one pressing question. Is Beyoncé finally protecting herself, or has she known more than she ever let on? The Diddy connection, what the court just exposed. Federal prosecutors dropped a bombshell in court, unveiling new evidence that allegedly links Diddy's infamous party empire to some of the biggest names in music, including Jay-Z. For years, rumors floated around the industry, whispered through back channels and encrypted group chats. Now, it's in black and white, documents, testimonies, and even alleged footage painting a disturbing picture of what really went on behind closed doors.
So this just in, Diddy allegedly has evidence of Jay-Z unaliving his mistress, Kathy White. And the reason Diddy isn't in jail yet is because he's cooperating with authorities to take Jay down with him. Kathy White was Jay-Z's side piece. Kathy was an up-and-coming industry publicist, fitness, and beauty expert when she mysteriously died at 28. Jay-Z was seeing her on the down low and got her pregnant. So according to a journalist, Kathy was going to tell the tabloids everything for the right price, but Jay found out and got her murked. Diddy is allegedly set to release the details of how Jay-Z unalived his mistress. Jaguar Wright hints that both the Carters might be responsible, but one of them is more responsible than the other, and she wonders if it's possible Beyoncé's temper is a little worse than most people think, and Jay had to clean it all up for her.
According to insiders, these parties weren't just celebrity hangouts. They were highly orchestrated environments, often involving coercion, surveillance, and exploitation. Prosecutors allege that attendees, some unaware, some complicit, were recorded without consent, and that compromising footage exists of various high-profile figures. Jay-Z's name appears multiple times in connection to guest lists, security logs, and bodyguard testimony. And now, in open court, there are claims that he wasn't just a passive observer. It's not just his reputation on the line, it's his legacy, his business empire, and possibly even his freedom. Other names, including Meek Mill, Usher, and Jennifer Lopez, have also started to surface. But it's the connection between Diddy and Jay-Z that has gripped public attention. Because if what's being alleged is true, if Jay-Z really was a regular in that world, it changes everything we thought we knew about him. Beyoncé's silent strategy until now. For months, as headlines screamed and social media debated, Beyoncé remained silent. No press statements, no interviews, not a single reactive Instagram caption or quote. While the industry churned in chaos, she kept her composure, watching the storm unfold with the same regal poise she's mastered over the years. To the public, her silence was either strength or complicity.
Now, I bet you want to know why Jay-Z and Beyoncé's name keep popping up around the whole Diddy thing. Well, that's why I'm here. Now, first thing you gotta know is when somebody like Diddy gets taken down, things always start out as a rumor. Diddy has had rumors floating around for like decades. Well, Jay-Z had a problem. He right there in the corner, by the way. Jay-Z has had a few rumors himself, but more like speculation. People see Jay-Z in a picture of R. Kelly, they're like, I guess they both make music. Then Jay-Z with Harvey Weinstein. People are like, I guess they both do business. Then, of course, Jay-Z with Diddy. Now, hold on. Here's the thing. Jay-Z and Diddy go way back. Like back to the days when they were both coming up. So you could say they might just have a lot of respect for each other. But on the other hand, people are like, well, if you've known each other that long, Jay-Z, you must have known what Diddy was on. But Jay-Z has always had a history of keeping quiet, which brings us to Aaliyah. Now, I'm sure y'all remember R. Kelly dated Aaliyah when she literally needed her parents' permission slip to get married. Now, if I remember correctly, her parents got the permission slip and said, marry who? And that's how this whole thing got exposed. Now, a lot of people in the industry actually knew about this relationship because they would work with R. Kelly. They would be in the studio with R. Kelly. Now, according to Dame Dash, who listened closely, was Jay-Z's first business partner and also dated Aaliyah when she was 21. He said this is how it went. He said he didn't want anything to do with R. Kelly because everyone knew what type of timing R. Kelly was on. He looks over at Jay-Z and Jay-Z's out here creating collab albums with R. Kelly. But then he saw why. For starters, everyone had a crush on Aaliyah. People were waiting down the clock until she turned 18. But Jay-Z decided to get a head start. Now, there was absolutely no proof that Jay-Z went after Aaliyah, but people were like, Let me see another picture.
But now sources close to her camp have confirmed what many insiders long suspected. Her silence wasn't ignorance, it was calculation, it was protection, it was strategy. Behind the scenes, Beyonce was anything but passive. In fact, she had been quietly preparing for the fallout long before the Diddy investigations made national headlines. According to legal insiders, her team had been conducting internal audits, consulting crisis managers, and reevaluating her brand partnerships as early as January 2024.
It's a big week for Jay-Z. His Rock Nation is geared up to produce the most watched live performance of the year, the Super Bowl halftime show. And of course, he was there to cheer on his wife, who took home the coveted award of Album of the Year at this year's Grammys. So in light of all of that, he's also making a surprising move in his ongoing back and forth with Tony Buzbee. Now at this point, we all know who the Texas-based attorney is. You know, the same one who said that he had more than 100 accusers ready to file lawsuits against Diddy.
After vetting, we now represent 120 individuals who intend to bring civil claims in civil court against Sean Diddy Combs, as well as claims against many other individuals and entities that we will name as defendants as we file these individual cases.
And of course, we know later that Jane Doe, who is being represented by the Texas attorney, filed a suit a couple weeks after this press conference accusing Diddy of raping her when she was just 13 years old. Then amended that complaint weeks later, adding Jay-Z, Sean Carter's name to that child rape lawsuit alongside Diddy.
That's when whispers started turning into real smoke. Rumors of Jay-Z's deeper involvement with Diddy's controversial social circles had begun to escalate. While no concrete evidence had surfaced yet, Beyonce's inner circle reportedly urged her to create legal and financial space between her brand and her husband's. Jay-Z, once her partner in power, was becoming a potential liability. In response, Beyonce began making subtle but intentional moves. She launched new solo business initiatives, including a rebranded hair care line and exclusive fashion capsule collections, ventures that noticeably made no mention of Jay-Z or any joint enterprise. She increased her visibility in the solo lane, appearing at events without him, creating social media content that focused solely on her work and legacy. Every detail felt curated to send a signal. Beyonce was operating independently now. Even her visual messaging shifted. Longtime fans noticed a difference in her wardrobe, the tone of her posts, the symbolism in her performances. There was less warmth, more power, less partnership, more control. And though she never said it out loud, the message was clear to those who were paying attention. She was drawing a line in the sand.
A female celebrity was also mentioned in that complaint as well. However, her identity has since remained a mystery. Since that happened, first, let me say both Sean Combs and Sean Carter have denied those accusations. Diddy's team said, quote, "In court, the truth will prevail, that Mr. Combs never sexually assaulted or trafficked anyone, man or woman, adult or minor." Meanwhile, Jay-Z made a scathing statement of denial, mainly targeting Tony Buzbee. He said in part, quote, "My lawyer received a blackmail attempt called a demand letter from a lawyer named Tony Buzbee. What he had calculated was the nature of these allegations and the public scrutiny would make me want to settle. No, sir, it had the opposite effect. It made me want to expose you for the fraud you are in a very public fashion. So no, I will not give you one red penny." Now that statement went on to call Tony Buzbee a deplorable human, a man with no valor, and an ambulance chaser in a cheap suit. Now while Diddy sits in a jail cell awaiting trial, by the way, pleaded not guilty to those charges, denies all the accusations made in the various lawsuits.
Still, the public only had speculation to go on until the court leaks hit, when the damning evidence emerged in Diddy's case, when Jay-Z's name was officially tied to video footage, witness testimony, and internal security logs. Everything changed, and Beyonce's carefully measured silence turned into an all-out pivot. Now, multiple sources within the industry say that Beyonce is in full-blown damage control mode. Her legal team, led by some of the sharpest entertainment attorneys in the business, is reportedly combing through years of contracts, asset arrangements, and brand collaborations. Every financial thread that connects her to Jay-Z is under review. Every business joint venture is being scrutinized for potential exposure.
Jay-Z and Tony Buzbee have been going back and forth with lots of motions filed, complaints filed, and accusations flying on both ends. The Jane Doe alleging she was raped by Diddy and Jay-Z went on NBC, where they pointed out consistencies in her account of what happened, including that her father picked her up after the alleged rape. Her father later told NBC he didn't recall that. She claimed she spoke to a celebrity there, but that celeb wasn't even in New York at that time. And photos showed Diddy and Jay-Z at different locations than the Jane Doe described. Now that interview happened in mid-December. By the end of that month, Jay-Z sued Buzbee for defamation and extortion. Jay-Z's legal team has also been pushing for the Jane Doe to not hide under anonymity. And of course, Jay-Z's lawyers have been trying to get his name off that child rape lawsuit or just have it dismissed altogether. Now, a judge ruled that she can proceed anonymously for now, but scolded Jay-Z's attorneys for their combative motions and inflammatory language used against Tony Busby. Then in January, a legal petition was filed by a Texas man who is represented by Tony Busby, who also accused Jay-Z's lawyers of bribing people to sue Busby and his law firm. So a lot's happened. Now in a surprising move, Jay-Z's lawyer Alex Spiro is seemingly softening up on Busby. In a letter to Judge Annalisa Torres, the same one who previously scolded him, Spiro wrote, quote, "Dear Judge Torres, we write on behalf of defendant Sean Carter to respectfully request that Mr. Carter's motion for sanctions pursuant to Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 11 be withdrawn at this time without prejudice."
Her PR team has doubled down, working overtime to protect the Beyoncé brand, a brand built on power, independence, and female empowerment. A brand that cannot afford to be dragged into the abyss, now swirling around her husband. Calls are being made to global partners. Confidential meetings are being held. Crisis comms memos are circulating. And behind it all, Beyoncé is watching and executing, calmly, deliberately, and without sentiment. Because this isn't just about reputation anymore. This is about survival. Sources say Beyoncé was shocked and devastated when she saw the full scope of what Jay-Z was allegedly tied to. But she didn't spiral. She strategized. She didn't react emotionally. She moved tactically. This is a woman who's spent over 2 decades building an untouchable image. She's not about to let it all burn because of someone else's actions. Because the queen is not going down with anyone, not even the king. Behind the power couple, cracks in the Carter image. For over a decade, Jay-Z and Beyoncé have stood as the gold standard of power, unity, and cultural dominance. They weren't just a couple, they were an empire, a brand, a movement. Together, they redefined what it meant to be black excellence in the 21st century, fusing hip-hop with haute couture, business with activism, and music with global influence. But behind the glitz, behind the Grammys and Met Gala photos, insiders say cracks in the Carter image have been forming for years, long before the public caught wind of them. And now, in the wake of Diddy's legal collapse, those fissures are finally visible. The facade is splintering. According to multiple sources within both Rock Nation and Parkwood Entertainment, tension between the two camps, business and personal, has been simmering quietly yet persistently. While the Carters have always appeared unified on the surface, those close to the operation say that behind closed doors, Beyoncé and Jay-Z have operated more like co-CEOs than soulmates for some time.
Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, Robert Kelly, Sean Combs have one person in common, professionally and privately: Sean Carter. This has been a fist of tyranny that has been punching through our culture and our society for decades. It must stop until him and his cohorts are all held to account publicly and legally. The victims, they're not safe. I have 3 victims right now who are willing to give testimony about not only what Mr. Carter has done to them, but his wife as well. They're a nasty little couple. They do nasty things. That changes now, Sean. You have no choice. Everyone knows.
Their sprawling empire, which includes Tidal, Ivy Park, Rock Nation Sports, Parkwood Entertainment, and numerous joint investments, has grown increasingly complicated, and now it's reportedly under intense internal audit. Each brand is being re-examined for exposure, for liability, for long-term risk. Tidal, Jay-Z's once revolutionary music streaming platform, has struggled to compete against giants like Spotify and Apple Music. Ivy Park, Beyoncé's fashion and athleisure line, has seen partnership turbulence, including a recent quiet split from Adidas after underwhelming performance. Rock Nation, meanwhile, is caught in the crosshairs of the Diddy scandal due to Jay-Z's alleged proximity to the events, now under investigation. The whispers coming from boardrooms and legal departments are getting louder. What happens if one brand begins to drag the other down? Can Beyoncé, who's spent the last decade crafting a legacy of empowerment, independence, and control, continue to thrive while tethered to a man whose name is now showing up in court documents related to federal investigations?
Now, I bet you want to know why Jay-Z and Beyonce's name keep popping up around the whole Diddy thing. Well, that's why I'm here. Now, first thing you gotta know is when somebody like Diddy gets taken down, things always start out as a rumor. Diddy has had rumors floating around for like decades. Well, Jay-Z had a problem. He right there in the corner, by the way. Jay-Z has had a few rumors himself, but more like speculation. People see Jay-Z in a picture of R. Kelly, they're like, I guess they both make music. Then Jay-Z with Harvey Weinstein. People are like, I guess they both do business. Then of course, Jay-Z with Diddy. Now, hold on. Here's the thing. Jay-Z and Diddy go way back. Like back to the days when they were both coming up. So you could say they might just have a lot of respect for each other. But on the other hand, people are like, well, if you've known each other that long, Jay-Z, you must have known what Diddy was on. But Jay-Z has always had a history of keeping quiet, which brings us to Aaliyah. Now, I'm sure y'all remember R. Kelly dated Aaliyah when she literally needed her parents' permission slip to get married. Now, if I remember correctly, her parents got the permission slip and said, marry who? And that's how this whole thing got exposed. Now, a lot of people in the industry actually knew about this relationship because they would work with R. Kelly. They would be in the studio with R. Kelly. Now, according to Dame Dash, who listened closely, was Jay-Z's first business partner and also dated Aaliyah when she was 21. He said this is how it went. He said he didn't want anything to do with R. Kelly because everyone knew what type of timing R. Kelly was on. He looks over at Jay-Z and Jay-Z's out here creating collab albums with R. Kelly. But then he saw why. For starters, everyone had a crush on Aaliyah. People were waiting down the clock until she turned 18. But Jay-Z decided to get a head start. Now, there's absolutely no proof that Jay-Z went after Aaliyah, but people were like, let me see another picture. But apparently Jay-Z wasn't successful and Dame Dash started dating her when she was 21. Now, what does this all have to do with Diddy? It's the secrets. It's the, like what happened to Diddy, making people wonder. Nas came out, well, he technically didn't come out and say this, but while he was having his legendary beef with Jay-Z, he's doing a radio interview and he's saying, it's weird that Jay-Z be working with people that need a permission slip to marry somebody, R. Kelly. But again, rumors, kind of like what was happening to Diddy. But then this lawyer comes out and says, boy, do I got some news for y'all. And here's where it starts to get wicked. Now, he's going after Diddy. Specifically, listen closely, anyone that Diddy might have done something to, or anyone who's watched Diddy do some of these things and stayed silent about it. Now, first of all, the lawyer's taking calls from anyone. So theoretically, anyone could just call trying to get some money saying Diddy did this to me, Diddy should pay me. But in the lawyer's defense, I'm sure he's looking for people with proof. Honestly, I don't know him. He could be trash. Anyway, what he said next is what got people interested. He said, and I got some names. He said some wild names. Some names that will blow your mind. He's selling this. He's saying, yo, y'all finna wild out when you hear these names. I'm not gonna say it now, but y'all finna wild out. So people are like, Now, in Beyonce's case, it's just because she's married to Jay-Z and she's been in the industry for like 20 years. People are like, you must have known something, but that's all people have.
According to insiders, high-level meetings have turned tense. Beyonce's team, once tightly interwoven with Jay-Z's legal and PR apparatus, has reportedly begun operating in silos. Her attorneys are said to be pushing for what's been described as a complete separation of risk. In other words, a clear boundary on paper and in practice between what's hers and what's his. The urgency of this internal shift reportedly intensified in early 2024, when murmurs of Jay-Z's potential ties to Diddy's party circuit began reaching legal ears. Though no formal charges have been brought against Jay-Z at the time of writing, the optics alone are enough to send ripples through investor confidence, brand partners, and international licensing deals. Several of Beyonce's global brand deals, ranging from luxury fashion houses to beverage conglomerates, have allegedly requested private reassurances that her public image and business dealings will not be affected by her husband's looming legal entanglements. In the world of billion-dollar branding, reputation isn't just important, it's everything. Even internally, staff morale has shifted. Former Roc Nation employees have anonymously spoken out, revealing that the workplace culture became increasingly guarded over the past year. It went from collaborative to cold. One former employee told a digital outlet, "Suddenly you couldn't even mention certain names. People were scared. You could feel the tension in the room." Insiders also reveal that Beyonce is no longer attending internal meetings related to certain Roc Nation projects. She's focusing exclusively on Parkwood and her personal ventures, films, solo campaigns, and upcoming projects that are being deliberately branded around her alone. It's a pivot from the United Front fans once adored, and a signal that, when it comes to survival, Beyonce is focused on preserving her own legacy. And it's not just business. Brand experts say Beyonce's recent public image strategy, clean, solo, elegant, and deeply curated, is an intentional countermeasure. The message she's sending to the public and the business world alike: she's her own entity. She is not defined by her husband's actions, nor is she willing to be pulled into a scandal she didn't create. Whether that means a public split, a quiet legal separation, or simply the redirection of her empire under her sole name remains to be seen. But one thing is no longer in question. The cracks in the Carter image are no longer invisible. They're wide open for the world to see. The evidence that changed everything. So what exactly was in that leak? What could be so powerful that it shook the Carter's kingdom? According to reports from inside the courtroom, prosecutors submitted a series of security logs, testimonies, and alleged video footage showing Jay-Z's recurring presence at multiple Diddy-hosted parties now under federal investigation. One of the tapes allegedly shows Jay-Z engaging with individuals who have since come forward as victims, claiming they were coerced or manipulated during these very events. Security staff have provided sworn testimony that Jay-Z was not only aware of the environment, but also in the know regarding the party dynamics. Whether he participated in criminal behavior or not is still unclear, but the implication is enough to taint everything he's built. When Beyoncé reportedly saw the details, a source close to her said she lost it. For someone as tightly controlled as her, that kind of reaction isn't just emotional, it's decisive. It may have been the moment she realized her image, her money, and her future were at risk. Beyoncé's next move, damage control or divorce? With this scandal snowballing, attention has turned to Beyoncé's next move, and if the whispers are true, she's already preparing for legal separation, not just from Jay-Z, but from everything tied to his name. Legal experts watching the situation closely believe her recent maneuvers signal preparation for asset protection. Rumors of a quiet prenup revision have swirled, as well as reports of estate division meetings held behind closed doors. Her recent solo appearances, always intentional, always branded, have ramped up in frequency. There's a noticeable shift in her tone, her imagery, even her press strategy. The once inseparable duo now rarely appear together. Her focus is on her own ventures, beauty, film. Bahian, is this just damage control, or is she preparing to walk away? Publicists have refused to answer direct questions, but actions speak louder than silence. And Beyoncé's actions are saying everything. What this means for Hollywood's elite circle. This isn't just about Beyoncé and Jay-Z anymore. This is about the unraveling of a system. The unsealed court records and leaks connected to Diddy are blowing the lid off an elite inner circle long protected by NDAs, publicists, and payoffs. For decades, stars in music, film, and fashion have moved in the same private circles, behind velvet ropes, beyond accountability. But now, the curtain is lifting. More names are being mentioned, some discreetly in testimony, others called out directly on social media. Jennifer Lopez, Meek Mill, Usher, once comfortably distant, are now caught in the gravity of this scandal. This isn't just the fall of a few powerful men, it's the crumbling of a structure built on silence, influence, and fear. And for Beyoncé, long seen as the queen of that world, the stakes are higher than ever. Her next move won't just decide her legacy, it might decide whether the entire house of cards continues to stand 2 minutes. That's all it took for the internet to explode, for a decade-long power couple to fracture, and for Hollywood to feel the rumble of what could be its most dramatic reckoning yet. The evidence is mounting, the silence is breaking, and the illusions, they're fading fast. Whether Beyoncé is protecting her legacy or just now waking up to the truth, one thing is clear: the game has changed. The masks are coming off, and no one, no matter how rich, powerful, or iconic, is immune anymore. Because in this new era, image isn't enough. The world wants the truth, and this time they might just get it.